Hey guys, Jib here, and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops 4 video. And today we're going to be talking about something a little bit more different. As the title says, or asks, should Call of Duty developers have less time? So back before we got onto this generation of console, there was only two developers who, for the most part, were developing Call of Duties. You had Infinity Ward and you had Treyarch, and they were always alternating years. And then until we got to this generation, to which Sledgehammer came into the mix with Advanced Warfare, and so on and so forth, it's been this way. Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer. But the question is, do developers now have too much time? And this is going to be some weird thinking, so bear with me. I personally think that we need to go back to the 2-year cycle and give developers less time to make these games. In my opinion, all of the Call of Duties on the last gen of consoles, i.e. COD 4 through Call of Duty Black Ops 2, were some of the best Call of Duties we've ever had, fun-wise and content-wise, with not as much BS in them as current Call of Duties. And I guess the way I gauge COD is, I know there's going to be a certain amount of BS and a certain amount of things that piss me off, but if the fun factor completely outscales that, I'm fine with it. Yeah, I might complain from here or there, but for the most part, I'm fine with it. But now that we're going the 3-year cycle instead of, I believe, an 18-month cycle, whereas the developer will push their game out, do the DLC and support, but would also be working on their next title, I'm wondering if we need to go back to that. Do we need to possibly get rid of one of the developers in order to see if we can get better games? And I think when we went from 18 months to 36 months of dev times, what happened was the devs have had too much time. Instead of locking down onto a specific thing they want to do in the game, I feel like for the first half, they might be trying to do one thing, and then at the last second they turn around and do something else. So what we end up getting is this weird, garbled, broken of a game that isn't completed, because if you want to take a look at most of the CODs we've had so far in the last 3 years, they really haven't been finished when they come out, or they've been really unbalanced or broken. Infinite Warfare was a good starting point with this. It just seemed like we were missing so many different features, the leaderboards, the combat record, or anything like that. We were just missing them. And then World War II comes out, and we're missing emblem adders, leaderboards. We're still missing almost the same amount of things we were missing in Infinite Warfare, and we just don't understand what's going on. And now with Black Ops 4, it feels like we're missing a lot of content, specifically a campaign. And I know we had the leaks come out that said they were trying to do something and it didn't work, so they just scrapped it. One can make the argument that if they had half the time, they would have figured out how to make it work, because they couldn't have been bouncing around any other ideas, or they may have just stuck with the traditional campaign. I do believe that World War II did the co-op campaign. If I am wrong, correct me down in the comment section below. So that was something a little bit more different. We allowed to play with our friends and play through the campaign. But now we don't even have a campaign because they wanted to do something, they failed. Black Ops 2, you could argue, innovated the campaign because you could have different endings. And so we've been bouncing around with things of, we advanced here and then we fall back there. I mean, one could argue at this point that with Call of Duty games, in theory, we should have Black Ops 2 multiple endings mixed with World War II's many people can play together, and maybe those many people's decisions could impact the ending of the game. But instead, we have no campaign, we're missing features in-game, and they're slowly patching things in and completely trying to patch the game so it's playable. I mean, zombies, it seems like every week they're dumping out supposedly a huge patch to stop blue screens. And during my last 24-hour stream, not playing zombies, playing multiplayer, I had many blue screens, 2 of which in 3 hours corrupted my save data to the point where when I loaded up the game, it was asking me for all of my settings, for controller, sensitivity, everything. And that happened twice in 3 hours. So I'm partially of the opinion that the fact that the developers have more time, it's not really helping us, because everyone thought if we gave them an extra year, we would get more content, we'd get a more polished game. And I want to make the argument that Black Ops 4 is probably the least amount of content we've gotten. We have most of the specialists coming back from Black Ops 3, a couple new ones. We have 4 maps coming back from previous Black Ops games, Slums, Summit, Jungle, Firing Range, 3 of which came from Black Ops 1. They were just remastered and made look beautiful, they're not new maps. And then we get Nuketown come back. It's rethemed, but it's still Nuketown that we've had the 3 previous games. And then a good chunk of the guns are, I would argue, just reskins. The Outlaw, I swear, is just the RSA interdiction from Black Ops 3. It just, we give them more time, and it feels like we're getting less bang for our buck or less content when we should be getting more. Now, given we did get 4 different zombie maps, 3 if you didn't have the season pass, but then you have the argument of 2 of them already had their own storylines that they got altered. We had, you know, Mob of the Dead come back as Blood of the Dead, a good chunk of the map we've already had before, and we had 5 come back. Yeah, they added in more Easter eggs and more storyline. That's cool. But the map overall, we've played before. It's good that they have alterations, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not 100% new content, and that's what I'm making the argument for. I would say that MW3 is the opposite. Before it came out, because they were in this whole lawsuit debacle, Modern Warfare 3, I do believe, only had, what, 8-9 months of dev time just because of what was going on behind the scenes. That's why I think Sledgehammer had to come in and help. But we got DLC every month if you had the season pass. We had face-off maps for free. They gave us game modes that the community had developed that were available in public matches, like Money in the Dank. We had Infected. We had all this new fun stuff, and they had the least amount of time to make that specific game. And now here with the latest COD, where they have, someone could argue, the most amount of time, this is the game we're getting. Even the streaks are rehash. AC-130, attack helicopter, sentry gun, UAV, dart. Not many of the streaks in Black Ops 4 are actually new to us, right? I'm trying to think. The sniper's nest is maybe new, but not really, because it was in Ghost, right? So unique to Black Ops 4, there's no real new streaks, and that might be because we don't have a campaign for them to pull ideas from. Even the Mantis, even though it's a spider tank, it's just a reskin Cerebus, because in the beta, the thing sets Cerebus on it. And that's from Black Ops 3, I believe. So, this is my overall question to you guys here. In the chat, leave me your response. Do you think we should drop one of the devs and go back to less time per game? I know some people think we should drop all the dev teams and do 1 game every 2 or 2.5 years, try to get like on the Battlefield schedule. Or do you think they just need to knuckle down, Activision needs to step in and talk to these devs, because they have so much time, but we're getting such broken, buggy CODs that are lacking content? I really want to know what you think, because in my personal opinion, it sounds bad, but I think we should dump one of the devs and go back to 18 months and just to see if we get more polished games. Because with all this extra time, that's probably why we've been jumping around from so many different COD time periods and such huge differences between the two, but they're really similar. Like Infinite Warfare, in my opinion, was like a carbon copy of Black Ops 3, futurized and like cranked up to 11. World War II was drastic, but the problem was the whole division system. That was just something they wanted to introduce that we didn't want, and we've had specialists for so many years, and you could argue World War II was specialist, and I don't know. I think that if they had less time, we would see less BS-y mechanics and more of a COD feeling COD, if that makes any sense. But that's where I stand. Let me know where you stand. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button if you're new, and I will see you guys later. Till then, peace out.